Okay, I think this is working. And I believe we should be streaming live. It shows we should be streaming live, so this is amazing. I just want to say thank you so much. I see there's an link coming through, so I'm going to admit her. I don't know how she's coming. This is part of the whole connecting into all of this stuff. So it looks like we should be live. I can't see us on YouTube. I'll double check and make sure that people can see the live stream. Pretty sure they can, so this is amazing. Okay. And I'm gonna go right here. Oops. And where'd you go, Colin? There you are. Perfect. So there's gonna be a little bit of a delay for us having our conversation. So here we go. Hello, everybody. I just want to say welcome. Thank you so much for your patience. I know I was posting that this whole techie side is brand new for me. So thank you as well, Colin, for your patience and understanding. And I'm really excited to be here. I have had the blessing. My name is Chastity, and welcome to our connecting consciousness with earth-based advocacy for humanity with Colin Joe. My gosh, where to even start? I was connected with Colin through a mutual friend of ours. And I started looking and reading, looking at his website, reading his teachings and where he's coming from. And Colin has, I know probably so many of you already know this, but Colin has had his awakening, right? So, or dark night of the soul, or ripped open kundalini, however you want to share that, right? At the age of 53. And so, you know, for so many of us, it happens at age 33. If you haven't got it by now, you're going to get it later, right? So, but his was much later, and his comprehension of the multidimensional body, quantum mechanics, life on other planets, understanding and seeing. I noticed lately, Colin, what's really been coming up is a lot of the deep state cabal stuff. And I don't even know if that's okay to say here. I don't want to get us kicked out, but you know, we can use code words if that needs to happen. But I don't want to set this conversation based off of any one topic. I just want it to flow naturally. So where do you want to start? Like where is your awareness and consciousness with your higher self? I know you've been going really deep, which, you know, so many light warriors are. You've been going really deep. So I just want to hand it over to you and just say, I'm so blessed to be here. Thank you.
It's great to be with you. Is my sound coming through okay? Can you hear me okay?
Your sound is coming through beautifully, yes.
Yeah, well, it really, you know, my awakening was an unusual one in that I had experiences that kind of changed my consciousness. And that's the only way I can describe it, because it changed me and my consciousness, and it turned me around in 180 degrees. And what I learned was that what we have been told here is a lie, and that the world is and the universe is not made of physical matter, and that all the physics here that we call physics, which is based on the science of physical matter, is looking at a small portion of what is actually real. We are not told where that physicality comes from. And there is in a way in the universe that physicality comes from energy. Everything is about energy. It's about the frequency of light, which is electrical, and sound, which is magnetic. A positive and negative, people might call it. But it's the way it stepped down into reality. And so, when I first woke up, this seemed a very crazy notion to me, because, I didn't have a background in science. In fact, I was probably, most of my life I was a musician, an artist, a poet, and I leaned more towards the arts that rather than to science. So I knew nothing about science when this started happening. But gradually, my higher selves began to inform me about what true science really is. And it's not the science of physical matter, it's the science of the waves of energy. And once we understand the science of waves of energy, we'll understand what matter really is. But humanity have been dumbed down with lies about their physical being. They are not physical beings. They are energy beings. And I was taught how this energy works, and I offer that in my courses. So yeah, it's a strange world we live in because it seems to be captured in this notion of physicality.
Mm-hmm.
If we would begin to examine the non-physical world and begin to understand the non-physical world, we'll understand how the physical world actually appears
Ah,
in our consciousness.
I love that you're saying so much of this, and I don't want to interrupt you because I know you have so much to share. When you say non-physical, some of the things that have been brought to my awareness have been that we are let me take this back. Well, I'll just say that we're holograms, right? There's some type of holographic construct and idea of not only who we are, right? But we have manifested ourselves into a physicality. And I love that you bring up the electric and magnetic aspects of this because those are male female aspects. And so that takes me into my comprehension and understanding and sharing with, followers and clients and friends and family, you know, that we are both male and female, and that we're electromagnetic beings manifested into this physicality. So, um, how do you how do you take that perspective? How do you say, yep, you're a physical being, like I can touch me, right? I touch the desk, I touch the computer, but they're all holographic. How do you explain that? Like, how does that make sense?
Yeah, it's all about resonance and how um, frequencies that are on the same harmonic wavelength cancel each other out. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
so for instance, if you were able to vibrate at the same vibrational level of the walls in your house, you could walk through the walls because they're non-physical. Okay, but we perceive them as physical,
Mm-hmm.
but we just don't understand that if we vibrate at the same rate of the walls that in our house, they become invisible, in fact, to our physicality. Um, so we interpret everything we see as being physical,
Mm-hmm.
whereas in reality, what you call holograms is what I was taught is a reality field. And a reality field's made up of harmonic, vibrating, electric and magnetic sound, waves of energy.
Mm-hmm.
And they have certain properties, and they work a certain in a certain way. And you know, we are just kind of indoctrinated with this idea that of physicality, when the things that really matter are non-physical beings. The energy that we represent and how we use that energy.
I remember when I was a child that, because we remember so much more when we're children, right? I remember thinking to myself, I would like a glass of water. And why do I have to get up and go get it? Right? Like, why is it not manifesting right in front of me? And of course, I didn't know the word manifest at the time, but I thought it should just come right to me. Right. And,
Yeah.
that's how it worked. And, it didn't. So, but on a scaled down version of reality, when somebody says, "Oh," uh, if I had said, "Oh, Colin, you just hurt my feelings," right? Colin, you just really made me mad, right? That's my reality. When in actuality, even if you were verbally attacking me or whatever the case may be, I have the power to create a different version of that. And I know that that's on a much smaller scale. That's more on a third dimensional, construct. But just sharing with our listeners that it it is it is a important thing to know that we get to create our reality and change our reality. I I don't think I can walk through walls, but I'm going to tell you, I'm certainly going to, I'm certainly going to create perceptions of that, right? Like, do you think that because of how dense, and I know the planet is moving into uncharted territory, right? Which is why all this purging is happening. So, do you think that with the planetary shift, first of all, I'm curious, is that going to take us off of the wobble? I forget what the degrees are. I've read 23, 25 something degree wobble that moves our true north. Is this going to take us back to being having a true north? And is our consciousness going to shift? And is our reality going to shift? And are we going to walk through walls, Colin? I guess that's what I want to know.
Yeah, yeah, I understand what you're saying, but the reality is that uh, we do have the ability to walk through walls if we understand how it works. You there's nothing secret in the universe that I'm not going to try to hide in these shows. I'm going to give you the facts, how it works, and how reality works. Um, but perhaps I could go back to um, my kind of story, where how this all began for me was, in 2003, I was very much involved in the sex, drugs, and rock and roll kind of lifestyle. Very materialistic view of life, very much a mind driven lifestyle, physical driven lifestyle. And I, at that stage of my life, I wasn't aware that I wasn't able to feel. My emotional state was, if I put it on a graph of one to or 0 to 100, I was probably about at one.
Oh dear. So that's a
Emotion,
big stretch.
emotion, made no sense to me at all, so I was very much a head mind kind of person. And then I started having a series of experiences where I was introduced to, well, how it happened first started happening was I was having a shower one Saturday morning, and I heard this rumbling sound around me, and it sounded like there was somebody in the room, but I couldn't figure out what the sound was. So I opened the shower door and I called, "Hey, anybody, who's here?" Nobody answered. So I thought, well, I'm by myself, and I carried on the shower. And I kept hearing this rumbling sound around me. It just seemed, and it wasn't in my ears because I could distinguish between the sound that I was hearing outside of my ears and the sound that I was hearing within me. But I didn't know at the time that that's what I was hearing. And so I just, for some reason, said, well, who are you?
Mm.
So I realized it was some higher being trying to connect with me. And so it started this relationship with energy being, it's my higher self in the fourth density, telling me that he was going to send somebody to me to teach me.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought, well, okay, that's cool. Sounds good to me. It's like just, I thought maybe I was just having a recurrence of an acid trip I've had.
I was just gonna say that could be like a flashback, right? Like, oh dear, I've gone mad. Who am I talking to?
Yeah, and I think because of coming out of the drug culture, I kind of had some pretty weird experiences with drugs. So I was used to having weirdness. It wasn't a new concept to me. Yeah. And so I told my girlfriend at the time, hey, this is what's happened. She said, well, she was more advanced than I was.
Mm-hmm.
She was awakened already, and she was a Reiki master.
Mm-hmm.
And so she said to me, look, just stay with it and allow it to happen and see what happens. And then the next thing that happened was um, I was asleep one night in bed with her, and I woke up to this feeling that there was somebody in my room. I've had this several times in my life, and so I kind of thought, what is this presence? I can feel somebody's in the room. So I thought I better have a look, and I looked up, and there was this 10-foot tall being standing at the end of my bed.
Oh.
Uh, and really, it took all my self-control to preserve my bowels and my bladder, and because really, this was this was like way out of beyond anything I'd experienced before. So I hid under the blankets, and I slowly peeked out from underneath the blankets, and I looked, and there was nothing there. So I woke my girlfriend and I told her what happened. And she said, well, that's the teacher that was before to you. I said, well, he's a little bit big.
I love it. It's never what we expect, right? And different for people who see beings or multidimensional realities in their mind's eye, right? So when that being lowers its density and comes here, I that's a whole nother story of like, what in the F did I just see? Right? Like, and I've uh yeah, it's different. And
Yeah.
can be quite frightening, right? Our
Oh,
nervous
yeah.
system isn't prepared for that, right? So, and because of consciousness shifting and because of what's happening right now, this is happening to more and more people. right? Like
Yeah.
there are no more veils. They're being exposed, right? And so this is good and bad. And so like something a lot of people don't understand is that there are beings around us all the time, good and bad. And so, there's a level of frequency. Which ones do you want to vibrate at? Because you're going to, and this is going to go back to your frequency, your vibration that you're sharing with everybody. That you're going to see what you vibrate at, right? And it's
Right.
really not pretty when you're vibrating low, right? Or in
Yeah.
those lower frequencies. So do you have
Yeah.
anything to say, like for people, or anything to share for people who are experiencing, like you turn the light on and you swear you see something standing there, you turn it back off because you're so freaked out, right? Your nervous system is going, you don't know what just happened, you turn it back on and it's not there. Do you have any suggestions or advice? Did are they permanently scared away, or are we going to keep moving forward with, this type of awareness?
Yeah. Look, as I got into this later on, I was told that I had been prepared for that
Mhm.
experience. And I think that that's what's happening to humanity at the moment. They're being prepared for the experience that's coming to them.
Do you,
And
do you, sorry,
uh,
go ahead.
because we create our reality, you know, and through our consciousness, through our thoughts and emotions and our standards and values and our attitudes, that creates our reality.
Hmm.
And so we don't understand uh, that we are projecting our reality outward
Hmm.
from what exists within us. Okay. So, but we've been told that that's not the way it is in this planet. In this planet, what happens is people, obey the law, and they have to, when they're born, their identity is changed from their soul being to a physical being, and they're given a name, and they entered into the system that
Hmm.
is there to control them and hold them in the state of physicality. So we are physically held in the state of imprisonment and enslavement. Whereas the truth is, we are not physical beings. We are far more powerful than that. And
Yes.
if we began to understand the nature of energy, as I said early on, we'll begin to understand ourselves a lot better because, and our thoughts are important, but even more so, our emotions.
Yes.
Because emotions are a magnetic wave that goes out 360 degrees around us. And our thoughts are carried on emotional waves.
Yes.
That's how radio waves work. Because you have to have the both. You have to have the magnetic and the electric waves. And so in our consciousness, if we're not paying attention to our thoughts and our emotions, we won't know how to project out into the real world the kind of experiences that we are meant to have and want to have. And that's what we came here for, to give ourselves experiences that will refine our souls and help us to evolve into higher dimensional beings.
Hmm.
You know? So I was taught all this stuff, and for the purpose, in 2003, I began to wake up. In 2006, I was told that they wanted me to be a grid worker. And I said, well, I didn't understand what grid working was. So they started teaching me about ley lines and about the energies and Mother Earth's planetary grids and where they are and where they come from and what they do. Uh, and to understand that, they explained that it's all a question of fractals, that as above, so below.
Yeah.
We have the same soul construct as the earth.
Yeah.
And in our physical bodies, in our soul bodies, we have the same construct as the Earth has. This Earth is a sentient being. It's not just a piece of rock floating in the sky.
I love that you say that. I have so many questions. I have so many questions. I had to write them down because you're sharing uh, so many beautiful pieces, and I agree. Uh, Mother Earth is a consciousness being, and so and we're microcosms of the macrocosm. Our bodies are literally mini maps of not just Earth, but of the universe, not just of the universe, but of the galaxy, right? We are mapped this way. But I want to
Yeah,
go back. One of the things that you had shared, you said that you were prepared, that we're all prepared for this, right? And so that makes me think, okay, um, are we being prepared in dream time, and is our consciousness being wiped, or are we being prepared in real time, and we're just not understanding it? Did I ask a good question? Like, does that make sense?
yeah, it does. Yeah, yeah. We are being prepared both on a conscious, because we have three different minds. We have the conscious mind, the subconscious mind, and the hyperconscious mind, or the God mind. And people have been operating in the range of the conscious and the subconscious mind that has been determining their reality or experiences. And so that they think in terms of the conscious and the subconscious. Because the subconscious mind that we have here is anathema in the universe, because it's just feeding, it's a control mechanism to feed our thoughts and to feed our emotions. So our subconscious mind is running all the time like crazy, but we don't get into the superconscious mind, which is the mind of God, the mind of everything, the mind of the all oneness, the mind of everything. And so we operate at a very low level of frequency because we can't connect with a superconscious. But what's happening is because we're in is what is called an ascension cycle. That's what some people call it. But it's just the way the earth moves and spirals and vortexes of energy and how time and space work.
I'm with
we'll
you. I'm following you. Yeah, no,
we'll get into that in later shows, but because of the system, the universe creates a soul evolutionary process
yes,
so that conscious souls can move into a higher state of frequency. Now, to put it in practical terms, it's like you watching a TV show and it's a violent show and you don't want to watch a violent show, and you change channels and you watch a musical, or something that is more more disresonant to your consciousness.
right.
And so you start watching the musical show or whatever it is. Well, that's what ascension really is. It's a change of consciousness, a change of channels, where we move out of the dimensions, the frequency of the dimensions 1, 2, and 3, and we're going to a higher frequency of dimensions 4, 5, and 6. And these are just numbers. They don't really mean anything. But what it means, it changes the harmonics of the way waves work.
Yep, yep.
And if anyone's a musician, you play music, and musical notes are harmonic resonances. So when you tune your guitar or tune your instrument, whatever it is, or piano, you choose it to create a certain harmonic.
Hmm.
Okay. Now, when you have that harmonic of frequencies working together, they create what we call music, or it sounds good. It,
Yeah.
it, it creates our reality. Okay, it's part of our reality. So essentially, it's really raising our consciousness to a higher harmonic. It's going up an octave,
Mm-hmm.
if you like, using the musical analogy. And so people's consciousness begins to change. And that's what's happening right now, because there is something, the Earth moves as part of the solar system around the galactic plane every 25,000 years.
Mm-hmm.
And as it moves around that galactic plane, um, uh, that galactic plane is part of a spiral of time. Now, if you look at a spiral, it starts up as a vortex and then goes down,
Yeah.
and then it kind of goes into what is called the 0 point, the reset.
Yeah.
And that reset, then it's where time and space is I wouldn't say eliminated, but where time and space no longer exist. And when we get to that point, a point of reset, then all consciousness changes. And it's not just humans that ascend. All
Being.
sentient soul beings then have an opportunity to go into a higher state of consciousness. But the universe has worked out ways for that to happen naturally and organically. But on Earth, the natural process has been stymied by the fact that our stargates and Q sites here have been controlled by the fallen angelics. So that doesn't assist us in a natural ascension cycle. But what our higher selves, the beings that I'm in contact with, was telling me that they are going to piggyback the Earth's ascension.
Yeah.
So Mother Earth is going to ascend, and when she ascends, they're working to help humans to ascend as well into
Right.
a higher state of consciousness.
Mm-hmm.
And the way that they will do that is by beginning to change human consciousness. You
Okay.
know,
Oh my gosh, Colin. Now I had all these other questions, but now I have these new things coming up, right? And so I'm going to try to tie some of these together. One of the things that you mentioned before we started moving into this sector of conversation was we're told how to be. And I want to take that comment and string it into the harmonics, because when you say we're told how to be, the way that I understand harmonics is, let's say there are 5 harmonics here, right? Or let's just say the first harmonic, the way I understand the harmonics is that they're in diagonal frequency. I know there's vertical, diagonal, and horizontal, but so I see like the first harmonic, for instance, holds 3 different densities, which would be uh, if we took someone into their basic 7 chakra system, it would be the first chakra, so the root, the second chakra, which is the sacral, and then the third, which is the power chakra, right? And then they go into that first harmonic. And then when you say we are told how to be, I'm going to say by who, and is it because our first harmonic is being controlled? And how is that being controlled?
yeah. Well, the first harmonic really is about the, the sacral chakra, and if one's observant of what's happening on this planet, everything seems to revolve around sex.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they they're using sex uh, as a means to give people meaning in life, to give them meaningful relationships,
Yeah.
to give them some kind of satisfaction and an orgasm that hopefully will, give them some sort of frequency resonance in their soul being, but that humans don't understand it. They just think, oh, this is cool.
I totally agree with you. And I have some, we can go into other stories sometimes, but the beings that feed off of that are pretty hideous and insidious. So maybe
Yeah.
for another show at some point, but okay, continue.
Yeah, we'll get back. We'll get into that some.
Yeah. Oh my goodness.
I know there are many layers of control on this planet of human consciousness, you know, and it starts from the moment we're born. When we are born here, we are given a name, and that name is in all capital letters. That designates us as cargo on a ship. You know, it's based on maritime law. And we are then on the ship that docks. And when we are birthed, the ship births.
I love that.
And we are kept on the ship as cargo.
Yeah.
We never get to the land. We are never transferred onto the land. We are held at sea, and we are captives at sea. You see, the whole legal system on this planet is based on that notion that we are hostages and we are held at sea. And the captain of the ship determines our future and our destination and where we will go and when we will be thrown overboard. And once we've been on the ship for 7 years, we are considered to be lost at sea. So when we are lost at sea, everything that belongs to us belongs to the papacy, to the Holy See in Rome. And so the whole maritime law system there is part of that system. So that the ownership here is a misnomer. It's an illusion. We don't own anything. Everything belongs to the Holy See, and we are kept at sea. Okay, and then we grow up and we get educated. But what do we get educated into?
Nonsense. But go on.
Yeah, yeah. It's my son Stephen.
Hello,
Hey, Steve, are
Hi,
you?
Stephen.
guys, and yourself. We're all lost at sea.
Yeah.
Everyone that's over 7 is lost at sea.
Yep.
So it's all sound and light, though, eh, Pops?
Yeah, but we're not really. We have the ability. We just don't understand the ability we have to jump ship, jump overboard. In fact, that's how my grandfather came to the country that I live in, South Africa. He jumped ship and swam to shore with his brother. So yeah, we can jump ship if we like, but you know, people don't understand it. But that comes into a whole lot of different ramifications. Yeah, so we get educated, we get indoctrinated, we get you know, and it's spread across the entire social spectrum of human experience, so that you know our religions are false, our science is false, our education is false.
Yeah.
There's a lot of misinformation.
There's a lot of information.
Arts and culture. Steve, can you mute your mic?
Yeah, sure.
Thanks, bud. Arts and culture are, you know, controlled through the entertainment industry, and you know how controlled that is. I was a musician. I was a pretty good at musician. I could get nowhere because I wouldn't suck up to the producers. And I wouldn't suck up to. So I had songs of mine that were actually that I had composed, written, and they were produced, and the authorship was ascribed to somebody else, the producer. So everything is, you know, generally people have no idea of the extent of the control that they're under on this planet. And that's what I think what I'd like to do is to start to unlock some of that on
Yes.
these shows so that people can begin to realize what is going on in this planet,
Yeah.
and but also to equip them to get out of the system.
Yes, I think that's one of the most important things is waking up to reality, right? And so many of us, I feel pretty I came in partially awake, so I could see energy signatures my whole life. I understand. I would watch a movie and go, oh my gosh, that's actually true, or oh my goodness, people aren't understanding like what's happening here. And so and then you get outcasted, right? And people think you're crazy, or whatever the case may be. I would sit in math class and science for that matter and just cry with my head down going, none of this is real. It's like I had a cellular memory or knowing of this is all crap. So needless to say, I wasn't super successful, just an average student to get through. But I have never heard a greater explanation of maritime law, and how that, for me, what it linked together, Colin, is that this is a slave planet, and that people don't understand um, what a slave planet is. They think we live in a free world, a free society, that we have free speech, that we have, and we don't. We have only within the constructs that we're being told and indoctrinated, right? And so I'm just I am so excited to continue more shows and just have there's so much richness to bring, and you're holding so much, you've brought back so much memory that is going to be a huge benefit um, for humanity. This is uh, it it's time to wake up. It's time to see
Yeah,
that all this stuff, we bring up the word God, and I personally am a recovering Catholic. So if you heard that, I apologize. There's some people watching a football game downstairs. So somebody must have scored. um,
yeah,
so it's interesting that so many people use God as an excuse, as a cover up, don't understand the comprehension of being a God particle. And so I hope that this is something we'll be able to talk about too, to not be afraid to use the word, and to not be afraid to really unravel what is God? Who are we? And how do those things, how is that one, right?
yeah, yeah. That's great. Yeah. The great irony on this planet is that we are slaves on a planet, but we are the holders of the key that unlocks the door.
Yes.
And we just keep agreeing to be slaves.
And
You know,
we don't know, like, right? And so it's about understanding, breaking those agreements. We're doing it subconsciously, and that's what you were talking about, living in our consciousness, subconsciousness, and not even ever making it out to understanding the other multidimensional aspects of our truth. We're not bringing that, and that's part of what this, as you said, some people are calling it ascension, right? It's a descension of our higher selves and our higher construct into this manifested reality, right? At least that's how my guides share it with me. And so understanding that once we break free and we remove the agreements, and understanding that we have to go in and say, you know what, this contract is null and void. I am not going to participate in your game. I'm not participating in your wars. I'm not participating in who you tell me I am, because unfortunately, they know us better than we know us, right? And so it's time to understand ourselves better.
yeah,
It, yeah,
yeah,
yeah. Oh my goodness. I kind of want to I kind of want to talk a little bit about, I know we've just got, like 10 more minutes here, and I want to really honor people's time and honor your time as well. You mentioned being a grid worker, and then that goes into the microcosm, macrocosm, how we are, the earth, how we are the galaxy, the universe, and all of these things. Um, and I have so many questions, but so many things to
Doesn't surprise me, but it's good that you ask questions, because the way to understand and learn is to question.
yeah.
Because when I went through my process of awakening, I was questioning all the time. When I got into this first experiences, I was thinking, hey, this is the setup. Somebody or something is trying to set me up here.
Yep.
So I started asking questions. How real are you? What about this? What about that?
Yes.
What am I doing here? What are we doing? So I kept asking questions. But the amazing thing is I was being given answers, not always as answers, but as questions. So
Yes.
sometimes I got to ask the question, and they said, well, what about this? Have you thought about that?
Mm-hmm.
And I thought, well, no, I haven't. So they said, well, go look at it. So then I would have to do my own research
Yep.
to find, so I could ask an intelligent question. So that's kind of how I learned, through asking questions and then being asked the question, have I understood this? Have I looked at that? And then I went and researched it, and I understood a lot better with what I was thinking.
Right.
So in a sense, what my higher selves were doing was raising my own consciousness by training me to do my own work.
Yes, which is one of the most important things. It's you can go to. I do facilitation for removing entities, demonics, alien machinery, that kind of stuff. And the most important thing is to teach people how to do it themselves. And
Yeah,
that's how I think we know we're not being duped, is a guide or the truth will never give you the answer. They're always
yeah,
going to say, do your own research. What
yeah,
and I love that that they're saying, well, have you have you looked at this? Have you looked at that? And and there are a lot of tricksters out there, and a lot of beings guised as light, right? And what they're going to do is they're going to give you the truth for a while, and
yeah,
uh, and then they're going to bait you, right? And then they put their hooks in, and then and then you're running in a reversal program once again, right? And
yeah.
so understanding that that works through the ley lines. I love that you've done grid work, because it's really I think really important and very comprehensive, I think, to understand how the grids work and how that works in our bodies, right? Being acupuncture points for the earth
Yeah.
is something that I hope we'll be able to talk about in the future. I heard,
Yeah.
oh my gosh, I heard that some of the arc gates are moving. And with this planetary shift, that some of the monolithic structures are actually going to authentically come back online as we're taking over. I don't know if you'll have any insight on that, but I really hope that that's true. I haven't gone into meditation about it and asked questions. I just thought I'd toss that out there for fun. But yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot happening energetically, in the ether. That's something we also have to talk about in the future. People should understand what the ether is, because they see the air around them. They think that that's empty space. It's not empty space, it's ether. It's life force energy. And when we're breathing air, we're breathing in life force energy.
Yes.
We're not breathing in oxygen and carbon monoxide and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So all of that is a load of nonsense. So yeah, when we can begin to understand ourselves not as just physical beings, but as spiritual beings and soul beings, energetic beings who have a construct, like the Earth's ley lines, how do they relate to the human body?
Mm-hmm.
Earth has a Merkaba field, and the Merkaba field feeds that into the Earth's chakras. The Earth's chakras then feed into the Earth's distribution centers, which are the meridian lines, the ley lines on the planet. We have the same system in our bodies.
Yeah.
We have a Merkaba field. We have the chakras that feed into, our distribution points in our bodies that we call, in acupuncture, they call them meridian points.
Yep.
And it's just the way energy moves from the earth to our bodies, because we have 15 chakras. 7 of our chakras are what are called on-body chakras. But then we have another 8 chakras, which are connected to various other, but 6 of them are connected to the earth's chakras. Yeah. So earth chakra 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 are connected to our chakras 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. So we have this connection with earth, an energy connection that feeds us. It gives us life force. It gives us an experience of life. But people just don't know this stuff. They've forgotten who they are. They think they are somebody, but they're not. When we get back to the understanding that we are far greater than we perceive ourselves to be, that's when humans will begin to understand and work better together and create a better world for ourselves, and stop listening to the nonsense that we've been told from other beings who have a different agenda. And their agenda is to feed off our energy. We are their slaves, but slaves for a purpose. They're feeding off our energy. We are giving them our energy.
Yeah.
And they feed off children. They actually eat children.
I know. And that's something I hope we'll get into. That's, I know I've done some of the SRA soul rescues in the multidimensional realms. It's really awful down there. It's really awful.
They feed off the adrenochrome of children, of traumatized children, because the adrenals of children, when they get harmed and terrorized, their adrenals fill up and they feed off that.
Yeah.
And that gives them energy.
Well, not only energy, but that's what they use to run their reversal. They have big Moloch tanks, right? That's what they use to run the reversal programming in the ley lines. And that one just, that gets me. And I know there's a big war. There's been a big war waging for some time, but now it's finally actually coming out. And is it finally coming out because we're waking up, right? It's not like it just started. This has been going on for thousands and thousands of years, and it's just like I'm so grateful for this time and being here, and this is why we reincarnated. There are so many different types of beings. There are earth seeds and star seeds, and all these different kinds of beings, right? And it's like I know what my mission is. And it's
I hope to bring a sense to people that we're not alone in the universe, that it's a different kind of universe than that we used to, and there are many other beings who have a direct connection to us. When I say direct, they have a direct energy connection to us. Okay, like when I met my higher self, he explained that he was me, but living in a different dimension.
Right.
Okay. Yep. I didn't understand how that worked, but he explained how it worked. That there are different timelines, and timelines are just frequencies of energy. It's like
go ahead. Sorry.
Watching your TV, and you switch from one channel to another time. You go from one timeline to another timeline.
Yep.
Different experience.
I find that is one of the most interesting things right now is understanding the Merkaba field going to 0 point, because as we sit in 0 point, it's really fascinating because at least from my lensing, my perspective, I can see all the different options right? Because there's an infinite amount of probabilities, right? And that goes into timelines. Um, but when we're not able to set the spin correctly for our Merkaba, and our grid is off and we're working on base 10 math, we can't, we don't even know how to start to really understand the harmonics and really understand what the body is about, and consciousness is about, all these things. uh, my mind is reeling, like I'm like, my team is like, we have so much, like, I love our interaction. I love being here with you, Colin. I honor your time, and I want to keep talking, but I'm honoring our hour. And for the future listeners, I want to, because I know more people are going to listen today. I apologize. I set out the wrong time. I'm in Washington State, and Colin is in South Africa, and so. I did this a little time buddy thing, and I completely slid in the wrong times. And so I was an hour off. And so thank you so much for your patience and gratitude with that, Colin. I know you were ready, and this is all going to be dialed in, and we have so much to share. Colin, you're so amazing. I love what you're bringing. I love your sharing. I love your work, your writing. So is there anything you want to close off with before we scoot out of here?
I just want to say hi to Emily. Thank you for attending, and to Stevie, my son. Uh, it's a great honor to have Stephen here. It's the first time he's actually watched one of my shows.
Oh, I love it.
Thanks, Pops.
Yeah, love you, Steve. And
Love you,
then
Pops.
looks like we're getting people joining us now. Maybe they also got the time wrong. But I think as we go on, people will get used to the times, and we can explain it better to them. So yeah, love you all, and I'm just so grateful also to be here and to be with all of all you guys, and um, let's build something really special. That's what I'd like, something which is amazing, that where people can go beyond the truth of a physical reality and begin to explore the nature of their souls, really.
Yeah. And Colin, I know you have some new classes coming up. Where can people find you and reach you for your classes?
Yeah, they just have to go on YouTube and just put my name, Colin Joe Byrne, and all sorts of videos come with not just my own videos, but other videos with other people. I also have a website called The Writings of Colin Joe. And on there, they can find some amazing information about the multidimensional nature of reality, the mechanics of creation, um, uh, the Merkaba field, how that works, the mechanics of Merkabas and vortexes. Um, so this is information on my website, and it's the writings of colinjoe.com. And then I have courses that I run. It's a kind of a 3-year course, because what I bring is a culmination of 3 years of work that I did. But more than that, it was 3 years initially to become a grid worker. Then after 3 years, I had very, very close contact with my higher self for a long period of time, till 2014. And then our grid work had been completed, and we've done the work that we were asked to do. And then from 2014, I was told to go and tell everybody how it worked. And that was a pretty daunting task idea for me, because I'm not a natural speaker, and I'm not a natural kind of communicator. And so I had to learn how to do all this stuff. So I started posting on Facebook and writing stuff up. It's a culmination of all that stuff that I went through. But universe, and I've been privileged in the sense that I've been in other space-time continuums, And I've seen how other space-time continuums work and how their governance works and how their consciousness is. Things like flying saucers, people, they don't understand how saucers can fly. But it's not their saucers that are flying, their consciousness is flying.
Yes.
But people just don't understand that, that consciousness is energy.
It's so
And we are
powerful.
connected to the energy of everything out there, So I hope that I can bring some, perspective to that whole notion of we are connected to everything and everything is one thing, expressing itself in a multiplicity of ways, in individuated ways. Yeah.
Beautiful. And I have no doubt that's going to happen. So beautiful. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I can't wait to see everybody next Sunday. So that's going to be also, I'll post the correct times. 11 o'clock Pacific Standard Time, 8 o'clock p.m. in South Africa. And I'll let everybody else do the math on the rest so I don't mess it up. Okay, much love, you guys. Thank you so much, Colin. Thank you, everybody, for being here.
Love
Bye.
you.
Love you.